What is happening out there, Roto Scouts baseball fans? Good to see you, gang. How is everything going out there? Hope your Friday is less hectic than mine. A lot of stuff to cover this weekend. Getting back into the swing of things with the NFL. Ugly football game last night, DFS-wise. At least for where I was. At least for where we were when we talked about it on our show. Had you told me going into that show that Philly was going to be down some of their best defensive players, their best defensive player opening up a big wide hole for Javonte Williams to punch a couple touchdowns in, we might have had a slightly different lean on his chances last night. Didn't like that part. Otherwise, fun game. Close game, or at least reasonably close. Had a chance late, so all you can ask from an opener. Another one going tonight. I have projections. I actually just updated some projections just for some of the depth options, juggling stuff around. A couple guys that are still probably going to end up being inactive that are drawing sub 1 point projections, but on there for right now. So we'll keep that updated after this show and through the evening. And we're going to try and get through this baseball slate in a hurry, faster than usual, kind of like what we did yesterday, but that was only a 5-gamer. And then I'm going to come back around and probably 5:30-ish, 5:15, depending on when this ends, basically. We'll jump back on and we'll do another single game show for that one. And then content-wise, you've got main slate projections, the initial main slate stack rankings. I owe you guys the player positional rankings, which will be up tonight. The lineup optimizer article and the game notes, all of which I'm going to work on tonight into tomorrow morning, and you should expect those tomorrow morning somewhere around, when the sun's up is probably when I'll be done with that. And then usual content through the day tomorrow. I'm going to figure out when that football show is going to land, but it'll be sometime tomorrow. Might even be tomorrow evening, just ahead of the morning shows, the Sunday morning shows, to talk about the main slate. But we will get on, talk about that main slate. In the meantime, we've got 11 games to talk about and quite a bit of pitching on deck for tonight's baseball slate. So it should be a pretty good one. Just a couple to throw it out there, a couple weather areas. Really the only one that's of remote concern, it looks like, is the Tampa Bay game. Cleveland and Tampa Bay. Ross got that yellow, says it's one of those where it's a cluster of storms. They're slow moving. You can't really figure out what to do with it yet. So keep an eye on that. A couple other spots, he's just got green, yellow, green, or green, yellow. So I'm not worried about anything. But there's maybe a little rain in the Atlanta area, wind blowing out in Baltimore, maybe a little rain in KC, St. Louis, and a slight chance of rain in Colorado, but winds blowing in from center. Doesn't really matter. It's Coors Field. Getting into the Vegas board here. Again, deep pitching slate. You can see a lot of fairly low implied run totals. Obviously, the pod's popping at that 6.26 implied that they're at. 5.25 for the Angels, who look pretty solid, showing a lot of power upside. I liked where the Cardinals were coming up in terms of power. They're at a 4.40 implied total, so pretty solid total anyway. And they're showing a bunch of power against Carson Seymour, who has a home run issue. No Wilson Contreras knocks that lineup down slightly, but I still think they're very, very interesting. The home run pick of the day comes from the Cards. But starting up at the top, 505 implied total for the Dodgers. They'll be interesting against Dean Kramer. It's Tyler Glasnow going for Los Angeles, one of the top-rated pitchers on the board, one of the top projected pitchers. 406 implied total for the Orioles shows a little bit of their quality. You can always get to them, but why attack on a deep slate? Why choose to attack Tyler Glasnow when they're not looking great? Next one up, monster series in the Bronx this weekend. It's the Blue Jays and the Yankees. Blue Jays 3 games up coming into the Bronx. Leading off with Kevin Gausman against Cam Schlittler. Couple very solid righties. 4.31 implied total on the Blue Jays side, 4.79 implied total on the Yankees side. Yanks check down somewhat from their typical ridiculous home run hitting numbers, but Gausman is gettable in that department. Every now and then he can go bust, but he's only had 2 real bad ones and then a few 4 or 5 run games along the way this season. The real bad ones were a 7-run game and a 6-run game, but those were June 19th and April 27th against these Yankees. Heavy danger spot. Gausman probably not necessary, but capable. And I would say the same about Schlittler. Not necessary, but capable, could find a solid day at a fair price. That's where you're going to get some advantage with him. Phillies and the Marlins, it's Chris Sanchez. He looks fantastic. The Marlins check down at a 3.19 implied total. Phil's drawing a 4.92 and looking pretty solid going up against Valiente Belloso. Logan Gilbert is on the mound for Seattle. He's got the Braves at a 4.01 implied total. Still a high-quality Braves lineup in terms of who's in it. The performances come and go, as we've seen throughout the season. Logan Gilbert, overall, pretty tremendous. Very solid at getting you through 6 innings and then see what's what after that, keeping runs in check. The strikeouts with him can come and go. He's got 4 double-digit strikeout games this season. Struck out 10 3 different times and struck out 13 2 starts ago against the Athletics. Tremendous ceiling, one of the higher end pitchers on this slate. Guardians and the it's Chris Sale, by the way, on the other side of that Braves game. And definitely a tremendous option there. That one's just a great pitching duel. Sale, the top projected pitcher on the entire slate with his strikeout upside, went 6 in his return to action on the 30th against the Phillies. He struck out 9, gave up 1 earned run on a solo homer, 3 hits, but looked pretty fantastic otherwise. Now the Guardians and the Rays. It's Gavin Williams, capable young starter, has had a few very strong outings over the season, including a 7-inning start last time out, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, just a solo home run allowed against Seattle. Capable of a very good outing here against the Rays. And then the Rays have Griffin Jacks scheduled as the opener from at least last I saw, and scheduled bulk reliever Ian Seymour. I don't think we're really going near that, but maybe it keeps expectations in check for a pretty mediocre Guardians offense that's at a 3.74 implied total. The Twins and the Royals. It's Pablo Lopez. It's Michael Wacha. Twins at a pretty low implied total, 3.84 implied. There are some interesting bats in that lineup, but Wacha more than capable of getting through. And going back the other way, Pablo, a little bit of a roller coaster. Forgot to pull his... It's been a minute with Pablo. He hasn't pitched since June. I just meant to pull the game log for the minors. Might as well do it now. Yeah, 3 rehab outings. Got out to 5 2/3 in the most recent one. That's what I wanted to see. So as long as we can rely on like 6 innings from Pablo, or like the ceiling of 6 innings, I think we're in realistic places here. That KC team, fairly low strikeout. Pablo's a pitcher that we tend to like to target. I think that's a fair spot, 4.25 implied. The Astros against the Rangers, sub 3.5 implied total on the Rangers side. Looking pretty tremendous. Although that, wait a minute, that must have gone up. Did I not change that? My bad. I thought I had changed that, and I didn't change it on the board. I just did the pitching projection. 7.5 minus 120. That's gone up slightly. Not as much as I would have thought. And 111. So still a low total on the Texas side. The reason I wanted to make sure to change it was because the Astros were originally scheduled to have Hunter Brown, and then it became Colton Gordon. So a still capable but lower end overall pitcher. That is a Rangers lineup, though, throughout the season's been pretty up and down. Don't love the upside for them. They're going up against a lefty, so some of their big home run hitting bats are probably out of the lineup. Not a great spot for them. And then on the Astros side, a sub 4 implied total for them, going up against Merrill Kelly, who's been mostly excellent through the season, giving you mostly 6-7 inning starts throughout the season. Just a handful of strikeouts in most of his outings, but every now and then can find a bigger strikeout game. Wouldn't necessarily expect that against a still threatening Houston lineup, but he's definitely good enough to use against them. Then this spot that I want to target with Carson Seymour on the mound, he's maxed out at 3 innings. He's been pitching in a hybrid role. This will be his second actual start, but he only went 3 in the last one. He gave up 4 earned runs, 2 home runs in that game, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. That was against the Orioles last week. Had pitched just a few days before that in just an inning of relief and was fine. Got 4 guys out. Walk 1. Got through 1 inning. A 3-inning bulk relief appearance, just 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts and a walk, but managed not to give up a home run. But he's given up 8 homers to 109 hitters in the show this year, and he gave up 20 in a not gigantic sample last year in AAA. So seems like a pretty realistic target for some home run upside for the Cards. I left it where it was coming up in the model. They're still pulling a 4.40 implied total as well. But again, Wilson Contreras not in that lineup today. He's starting his suspension. 4.19 implied total on the Giants side going up against Michael McGreevy. They're a realistic option for some bats as well. The Padres, of course, feel pretty obvious. They're going up against Cal Freeland. And then it's Nick Pivetta, more than capable of getting through that Rockies lineup. He's got them at a pretty low for Coors, 4.37 implied total. He's been mostly tremendous this season. Still carrying a 2.84 ERA under a 3.79 xFIP for the year. So a very playable option in Coors Field today. People are going to be aware of him, though. And then the Athletics and the Angels. Mason Barnett just making his second start. He went 4 in the first one, gave up 5 earned runs. It doesn't look like we're maybe fully ready yet. Angels pulling a lot of power against, especially through the middle of that lineup. The 5.25 implied total speaks to that. The Red Sox at a 4.79 implied against the Diamondbacks, 4.32 implied on their side. It's Jose Soriano going for the Angels, by the way, who we do like for his ability to potentially keep that Athletics power in check. But a 4.36 implied total. He is gettable. Erod's on the mound for the Diamondbacks, and Peyton Tolley making his second start. First one went pretty well, as you probably saw. 8 strikeouts. Got through 5 1/3 against the Pirates. Diamondbacks, different kind of an animal. We'll see how he does. So again, Chris Sale, fully priced, 10-4, 10-5 against what is a good Seattle lineup. But there are strikeouts in that lineup, and he's got monster strikeout upside. Just one of the best left-handed pitchers in baseball, full stop. One of the best pitchers overall. Tyler Glasnow, plenty of upside as well. 98, 89, a little bit of a discount for some runs, some walks in recent starts, but definitely a targetable spot against the Orioles, and take the discount as compared to everybody else up in that territory. Like that a lot. Logan Gilbert against the gettable Braves, 10-3, 9-5. I already raved about Gilbert. Love that spot. Chris Sanchez against Miami, 10-2, 9-7. Nothing not to like there. You've got quad aces on this slate, and then you've honestly got a pretty good run right through here. Pivetta against the Rockies, big S at 96-91, offset by price a little bit from those guys. Obviously threatened by the ballpark, but that's been a paper tiger of a lineup on the other side in most of their home games. Merrill Kelly against the Astros, 87, 8,000. Again, good enough to beat that team. Maybe finds 5 strikeouts along the way, gives you 6-7 pretty good innings. He manages to do that at those prices. It's competitive with these guys, even if they're having decent days. Pablo, I'm not in love with those prices. I said he was a pitcher we like to target before, but I didn't mean that. That came out of nowhere. He's a good pitcher when he's on, but I don't love using anybody really against that low strikeout Royals team unless it's one of the top end aces. So if we're getting 6, I believe in those as the median, but I also think that's approaching our ceiling for price, and those prices are not necessarily appropriate at 98, 93. Kevin Gausman against the Yanks, 88-87, obviously comes with a lot of downside. Yankees lineup, and the same thing goes for Cam Schlittler at a ridiculous, honestly, 97 on FanDuel. 85 is much more reasonable on DraftKings. Both guys are in play on the DK slate as mid-board SP1s, I guess, given that price. They're not exactly priced as SP2 unless you're going double pay down. But either guy usable. More strikeout upside for Kevin Gausman going up against that Yankees lineup than Cam Schlittler, who is a good strikeout pitcher going up against that Blue Jays lineup. Gav against the Rays. I like it. 83-76. One of our first true discount options at 7,600 on the DraftKings slate. SP2 option definitely works. There are Ks in that Rays lineup. There's also some threat. There's some power for sure in that lineup. So we'll have to thread the needle a little bit, but we've seen him do that. Jose Soriano, I like at 82-71. Might find a little bit of strikeout upside as well today, but typically good at keeping the ball in the yard, and that's taking the Athletics' primary weapon away. Erod, 78-63, total roller coaster, but that is a good price to find out and ride that ride. Ian Seymour, I don't think we're getting too much beyond these medians. 74-78, it's a 4 and change. Just acting as a bulk reliever behind Griffin Jacks, who might go out there and go 1+. I shaved Jacks down, though. I didn't want to have him over projected, so I only gave him a couple of hitters. Totally is a wild card. 93 feels really expensive for a lefty making his second start against those Diamondbacks. 83 on DraftKings, more reasonable, but still not really competitive price-wise with everybody in his surrounding area. And I have more faith in Michael Wacha paying off 6,900 against the gettable Twins team than the kid against Arizona with the price difference cooked into it. Colton Gordon, reasonable against Texas, 69-63, but also not necessarily special. McGreevy, I don't think we're really playing that game. We'll at least talk them through. Dean Kramer to target the Dodgers doesn't feel great at 86 on FanDuel, 65 on DraftKings, different kind of a story. Maybe a dart you could throw. Dodgers haven't exactly been stellar. Barnett, I think just giving up too much upside to the Angels, and then the bottom three just really not on the board. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as we get started here. Looks like we have not yet gotten most of these. Just the Braves lineup in so far. Since I'm here, I'll grab it. Check out the site. It's rotoscouts.com. Football content is live. Got projections up for tonight's game. Projections and initial stack rankings for Sunday are live with a ton of content coming overnight tonight. Projections through the end of the season for baseball. You get everything for the same low price, under $1 a day on a weekly or quarterly plan. Right now, you can get a monthly for $15 for your first month. The month of September, all of football and baseball for just $15. That's 50 cents a day. So check that out. Promo code KICKOFF gets you that deal when you sign up. And let's get started. So neither of these lineups in. Tyler Glasnow, 29% strikeout rate. That part of it looks like him. 3.41 ERA is all right. 3.69 xFIP, perfectly fine over his 14 starts, is 68 2/3. A little bit bumpy on the walk rate. That's where some of the downsides created. Orioles up over a 4 implied run. And a 9.1% barrel rate. Comes on a manageable 10.4 degree average launch angle. It's been inducing weak and medium contact. Giving up a 3.58% home run rate. Given the barrels, I say that that's, realistic. But I also think it's representative of more just mistakes, working some stuff out. He's only made 14 starts. He's had a solid run, though, for depth. Since his return on July 9th, we're talking about 9 starts. Pitched into the 6th in 5 of the 9 and completed the 7th in 3 of those. So the depth is there. The strikeouts are definitely there. And it's a mediocre Orioles team. 24.3% strikeout rate for the active roster against righties this year. That's reasonably close to that 24.5 that this version of this lineup has. I like the upside. One of the top projected pitchers. A little bit of a discount at 89 at 98. On the other side, Dean Kramer at 65 at 86. Sub 20% strikeout, but it comes with just a 6.2% walk. That's not a problematic ratio. It's not good, but it's not terrible. 4.52 ERA, a 4.18 xFIP. Again, not good, manageable. 10+% swinging strikes keeps him a little bit interesting. He's been good at managing premium contact, just 36% hard hits, 88.4 miles an hour of exit velo, totally realistic 3.25% home run rate. Going up against the Dodgers team where only 2 of these guys now are pulling 10 plus in the home run model. Granted, one of them Shohei Ohtani, the other is Teoscar Hernandez, and in between you have Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman still. So, there are reasons to be concerned. The Dodgers are pulling a 5+ implied total against a pitcher who is largely mediocre. But I do think at that 65, you can throw this dart as an SP2. It's not completely nuts. This Dodgers team has a 23.3% strikeout rate for this version of the lineup. Sub, 8.5% walk rate at 8.3. Definitely reasons to at least believe that Dean Kramer could give you a healthy 5 and change here. Not because of his last 2 starts. Got obliterated by San Francisco last time for 7 earned runs in just 3 innings. Faced 19 hitters, gave up 9 hits. Struck out 1, walked 2. On the good plus side, he didn't give up a home run. He did give up 3 home runs in his 5-inning outing in the start before that one, though. That was against the Astros. 6 earned runs on 7 hits, 7 runs total. Gave up 3 homers, 4 strikeouts, and a walk. 2 terrific starts prior to that. 7 innings against those same Astros in Houston, where they're banging trash cans and sending smoke signals to people about what's coming. 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, no runs. Start before that one, 8 innings against Seattle. 1 earned run on 5 hits, struck out 6, walked 1. Solid starts. You get something like that today, you're in business at 6,500. Dodgers bats Ohtani's Ohtani. 18 is a fairly representative number in the home run model. He's got 46 of them on the season, 328 ISO. He's ridiculous. Mookie's still scuffling. 250, 322, 379, and 96 WRC plus. It's been difficult, but the price is way down. That's kind of baked in at this point. Freddie Freeman at 5 at 34. Totally reasonable. 294, 368, 489. Freddie Freeman's still spectacular. 137 WRC plus. Teoscar's just hovering at the league average WRC plus, but still has monster power. A 202 ISO, 21 home runs, major premium contact. Michael Conforto still makes good contact, still very cheap as a lefty bat. 10 home runs, 137 ISO, has not turned the contact into anything and has been mostly terrible all season. Doesn't even project particularly well. He's just cheap as a lefty in the heart of the lineup if this is what they go with. Andy Paz at 4 at 31 has 24 homers, 13 steals, a 114 WRC plus. Tremendous season. Stays pretty cheap all the time. 4,000, 3,100. Really generous to leave him at those prices. Hye-Sung Kim is better than a mix and match guy. He's had a good 151 plate appearances, solid slash line. Not special as far as power, finding barrels or anything like that, but he's got a little bit of speed if he gets on. At worst, decent correlated scoring guy. Like him a little better maybe than Miguel Rojas, though Rojas has a tiny bit more power. Low strikeout at 13.9%, so you're getting some well-struck balls in play from time to time, but by and large, he's more a slap hitter. 261, 320, 391, 6 home runs on the board, just a 99 WRC plus. And then Dalton Rushing hasn't really shown his quality in the show yet. He does have 3 home runs, but nothing else on this side of the board looks good. But over here, quietly very interesting. You got to fade the 37.9% strikeout rate so far, but that premium contact is interesting if he's in the lineup. On the Orioles side, Jackson Holiday, 41-31, put together a nice season. 16 homers, 14 steals, and 98 WRC plus. And he's pulled himself up to solid average contributor, and he's got upside from there. 8.8% barrels, 41.2% hard hits, low strikeout, or medium low strikeout, medium high walk rate. Jeremiah Jackson has hit the ball solidly over 111 plate appearances. He's looking pretty real with a 141 WRC plus, a 198 ISO, although that 309 xwOBA stands out a little bit. It caught me saying he's looking a little bit real in my throat there. 4.5% walk rates, cut that down a little bit, but a 351 on base. Getting a lot of success via BABIP so far. Needs to push the walks up a little bit to really start paying things off, but everything else is intact and looks pretty good there. 51-32, 16 home runs on the board, 20 stolen bases for Gunnar, a 122 WRC plus, 7.07, showing a little bit of power in the home run model from the left side. That's a solid mid-board type number if you're choosing to attack Tyler Glasnow. Maybe you ride with some of the guys that can draw some walks while also showing a little bit of power, but everybody in this lineup is at best mediocre at drawing walks, so not necessarily a great plan. 34-29 for Ryan Mountcastle, average at best. Makes way better contact than his results have ever been in terms of the power output. Had one good home run and ISO year, and then it's just never really come back despite consistently hitting the ball hard. Colton Cowser shows off the power. 13 home runs, a 192 ISO. Better premium contact than that. Hit a bunch of home runs last year. Solid option from the left side for cheap pricing, 36-28. Sammy Basallo at 39-25. Just 1 home run on the board in 55 plate appearances, 72 WRC plus, but that is one of the top hitting prospects at the catcher position in all of baseball. Take advantage of the cheap pricing. I think that's an interesting lefty. Again, if you're choosing to attack Tyler Glasnow, but you don't need to do that today. Emmanuel Rivera, Dylan Beavers, Kobe Mayo down lineup. Solid contact out of the last 2 guys. Beavers has held up fairly well over 61 plate appearances, a 152 WRC plus, has a home run on the board. Mayo has 7 homers, but just a 72 WRC plus, just a 280 xwOBA as well. 290 xwOBA for Emmanuel Rivera, but you're not expecting him to hit the ball all that much. He's just low strikeout, put the ball in play. He can hit for average from time to time, but it's more correlated scoring, just slap hitter type. But these 2 guys down lineup can hit the ball hard. I wouldn't want both in a lineup necessarily, but either one could definitely make something happen for you. Glasnow, Dodgers, Kramer, Orioles. Sounds like a challenge, R. Jones. Is that one of those electronic ones where somebody's got the buzzer and can zap you from time to time? Yeah, 2 Seymours on this slate. We went through like 99 years of baseball without a Seymour, and now we've got 3. 2 of them are on the Rays. But yeah, 2 Seymours are pitching tonight. Ian is the Rays. Carson is the Giants. Kevin Gausman, 87-88, striking out 24.3%, 6.7% walk rate, 3.75 ERA, 3.85 xFIP, 100 rating by Stuff Plus, right on the nose for average in a lot of these categories. Little bit above average in strikeout, a little bit below in walk. Very solid at inducing swinging strikes. He's keeping guys off base at a 105 whip this season, so he's better than average overall. It's just that a lot of those numbers fall like right in that kind of a line, and that Stuff Plus mark is right at the league average essentially. But definite upside and fair pricing to target a Yankees lineup that can push strikeouts and can find those games against good pitchers that do have swing and miss stuff, like that 12.5% strikeout swinging strike rate would show. That you can envision a path to success for Gausman from these projections to put a little ceiling on these numbers, and that puts him very much in play at those prices. Schlittler on the other side, 27.1% strikeouts, but losing a 10.1% walk rate so far. Pitched to a 2.61 ERA and does have excellent stuff via Stuff Plus. Has given up a little premium contact and power along the way so far and has a 3.66 xFIP under that ERA. Against the low strikeout, high quality Blue Jays, I would be content with 5 innings of just quality here. Maybe find a couple strikeouts, but I don't really see this as a great option. 85, I think he's playable on DraftKings. 97 on FanDuel. I don't know how much we've really got here. I think the kid's really good, and I do like him in spots for DFS, but we're talking about a Blue Jays lineup that, as we keep on focusing on, 17.1% strikeout rate. And that's a very real number. I mean, these are realistic sample sizes. So I just don't love targeting him, Blue Jays with pitchers. He's good enough to get there at that price. This one concerns me, especially when you only get the one bite at the apple at pitcher. If we're attacking Schlittler, which I think is realistic with the Blue Jays, they're in Yankee Stadium on a nice day. It's not particularly hot, but it's nice. Yep, there you go, R. Jones. How do you think you get through a 2-hour show, man? George Springer at the top, 5,000, 3,500, 27 homers, 16 stolen bases on the season. You got a guy named Vladdy Guerrero, a couple spots after that at just 4,800, 3,400, 22 home runs on the board for him, getting on base at a 389 clip, a 143 WRC plus. In between, Addison Barger, price really cheap, 4,200, 2,900. He went through a tiny slide and they knocked his price down. He's got 19 home runs. He's got a 216 ISO. He's a lefty bat with an 11.9% barrel, 51.4% hard hit coming into Yankee Stadium to face a kid who's given up an 8.1% barrel, nearly 40% hard hit, 89 plus miles an hour of exit velo. That is a good option in between those hitters. Bo Bichette in the cleanup role, 47-32, 18 home runs, excellent slash line, a 130 WRC plus, major part of their upside. Out of all 4 of those guys, only Barger's really a strikeout target, 25%. Dalton Varsho, putting up a high strikeout rate this year, but also barreling the hell out of the ball, 18.7% barrel rate, 18 home runs and still under 200 plate appearances, a 369 ISO. Another lefty bat with, at least this year, very realistic upside for some thunder in Yankee Stadium. 4,800 on DraftKings is a little bit more than I'm totally comfortable paying for Dalton Varsho. 35 on FanDuel, same deal, but that's just bias at this point. I mean, he has been very much worth it. So you go there, but he's the other strikeout target at 29.4% this year, 26.7 last year. So it's very realistic to expect a 0 from Dalton Varsho from time to time. Alejandro Kirk, 37-27, tremendous season. 299, 363, 433, 122 WRC plus, just 3,700, and he hits the ball hard. Look at the barrel and hard hit out of him. Just some good contact, put one in the air, go the other way toward right. What you don't want is the long fly ball to left center out to Death Valley. But righties can get power in this ballpark as well. Nathan Luke's 36-27, getting on at a 326 clip, creating runs 2% better than average via WRC+. Other than that, mostly average across the board, but very low strikeout, high walk, and interesting enough bat if you're just mixing things up in the outfield across a bunch of Blue Jays lineups. Ernie Clement is a lot of that as well. Super low strikeout, low walk, a lot of balls in play, but not particularly well struck. 275, 310, 395, most of the success via batting average on balls in play and just beating things to first base. But he's good at it. 35-26, totally works across sites as a filler. Andres Jimenez at 33-26, 7 home runs, 12 stolen bases, otherwise mediocre, 77 WRC+. But another guy, realistically low strikeout, always has been. Doesn't really draw that many walks, although the walk rate's up a little bit this year over the last 2, but doesn't really hit the ball hard. Between those 3 guys, you probably want 1 for correlated scoring. And, I'd have the most interest in probably whoever's 9th or maybe 7th, depending on what I'm doing through like those 3 guys. On the Yankees side, let's see if we got their lineup in. Does not look like it. The White Sox lineup is in. I think that's the other slate. Tigers, I think that's also the other slate. So if the Yanks roll out something similar to this, and I would expect Giancarlo Stanton for at least a couple of these over the weekend, but he'll probably sit 1 out. But monster rivalry, monster showdown in the AL East here, divisional series, division basically on the line for this series, and then we'll see what happens. So I would expect more Stanton than not. He's got 18 home runs and 208 plate appearances, a 21.5% barrel rate on the season, a 326 ISO, just legitimately still one of the top 3 or 4 best power bats in all of baseball, and legitimately one of the best home run hitters of his generation. Aaron Judge at 64-48, just an all-timer. 43 home runs on the board for Judgy, 341 ISO, a 193 WRC plus to make the point. Trent Grisham, Ben Rice, couple of very interesting lefties up top to throw at Kevin Gausman here. Gausman gives up an 8.8% barrel, 40% hard hits, 89.2 miles an hour of exit velo, and an extreme fly ball trajectory. So you can always get Gausman for a little bit of home run. He's at 3.10%. Again, that's totally fine. That's an average-ish kind of a number, but he can get nailed here, and the Yanks can obviously capitalize. That said, only Aaron Judge above the magic number for home run overall, because Gausman does limit the available contact a little bit via some swinging strikes. So there's a little give and take there. Judge looks like a monster at his 12.59, and those numbers in the high 7s are not nothing for Trent Grisham, Ben Rice, who have 30 and 22 home runs respectively, a 238 and 235 ISO. As we looked at yesterday, basically everyone in this lineup has a well above 200 ISO. It's just ridiculous power. Cody Bellinger at 49-34 has 27 home runs, 11 stolen bases, a 224 ISO. Austin Wells, 3,700, cheap at catcher for a lefty with all this power in this ballpark. 20 home runs. All he needs to do is loft a fly ball into right field. Anthony Volpe at 38-3,000 is at worst a mix and match option for counting stats. I continue to think he's not good. He gives you too many bad days, but he does make decent contact when he happens to connect, and he does give you numbers across those categories from time to time for a fair price in Yankee stacks to fill them out and occupy the shortstop spot, depending on what else you're putting the Yanks with. He's not high priority. He's not necessary or mandatory, but he's there and he's easy to use. Same thing goes for Ryan McMahon at 33-28. Between the two, I believe way more in Ryan McMahon because he can draw a walk. He also hits the ball very hard and harder and more over more time than Anthony Volpe. He's got the same 19 home runs. He doesn't steal as many bases, but he gets on base more regularly. Also has a far better xWOB under the surface to back that up. Vamed Rosario is in for Jazz Chisholm. That's obviously a big downgrade. Jazz came into the game. I believe he's still questionable. I haven't seen a diagnosis, but we'll see what happens with that spot. Would obviously be a big downgrade for the Yanks to lose that big lefty bat. If he's in the lineup, so much the better for Jazz Chisholm. Fire away with him. He'd have monster upside. Ahmed Rosario, playable though. 283, 318, 434, a 108 WRC plus. Memory serves finds most of his success against lefties, but a capable enough guy, at least at putting the ball in play, and another cheap guy to fill in infield from the Yankees. So different kind of a play. He's also very low strikeout. Four corners game, you can use anything here. The pitching mostly on the DK side, though. I would say Yankees bats, Blue Jays bats, Kevin Gausman, Cam Schlittler. I would have assumed a car battery, R. Jones. 492 implied total for the Phils going up against Vayente Belloso. 5,200, 6,700. He just looks like he's in danger here. 5 starts, 73 and 2/3 in a hybrid role. 3.91 ERA, but a 5.34 xFIP. Just a 2.58% home run rate, but that comes on a 22.9 degree average launch angle that he's allowed a 9.8% barrel, just under 40% hard hits, 89.1 miles an hour of exit velo. You know that equals home runs, or at least home run opportunity. 16.16 in the model as if to make the point for Mr. Kyle Schwarber on the other side. That kind of speaks for itself. A lot of home run power showing for the Phillies up at the top. Again, only Schwarb's actually over the magic number, but sometimes it's okay to be just underneath it, especially against such a bad pitcher. I would not go to Belloso here. Christopher Sanchez, on the other hand, one of the top options on the entire slate. Just a dominant season. 2.66 ERA, a 2.83 xFIP. Everything is very real. 128 marked by Stuff Plus now. A 1.45% home run rate because he keeps launched to 3.5 degrees on average. 26.3% strikeouts against 6% walks. A 13.4% swinging strike rate, 31% CSW. He is just tremendous in every way. Absolutely want to play him against the Marlins here with their 319 implied total. Last time out, 1 earned run over 6 against the White Sox, struck out 8. Start before that, no runs on 4 hits over 6 against the Nationals, struck out 8. 6 2/3 against the Rays, no runs on 1 hit, struck out 8. See a pattern for, I'm sorry, I was reading the wrong one. I thought there was a bad one in there. I was one too high. That was Cam Schlittler. I saw the CS and started reading. Last time out, struck out 8. 7 innings against the Braves, 1 earned run. The bad one was against the Mets. I knew there was a bad one in there. 6 earned runs on over 5 1/3, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. Had a 12 strikeout game over 6 1/3. Gave up 2 earned runs to the Mariners, and then 6 strikeouts over 6. Give up 3 on 7 hits to the Reds at Cincinnati, which is a reasonable start. 1 earned run over 6 innings against the Rangers, struck out 6. 8 innings, struck out 6 against the Tigers, kept them off the board entirely on 5 hits. And then you roll all the way back to the complete game, 1-run game, 12 strikeouts against the Red Sox, just dominant. That's a lefty against the Red Sox. Love this spot. That spot, totally fine with the 10-2. It's also fairly easy to reach some interesting bats with some of the teams we're going to, or some interesting arms with some of the teams we're going to talk through. On the Phil side, Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper. Priorities if you're building with this team. Priority if you have a bunch of money to spend and just need a one-off. I think any one of those guys is an excellent option, probably led by Schwarbs with that monster home run number. He's got 49 on the season, a 328 ISO. He is ridiculous. 3 true outcomes hitter with a ton to offer basically across the board. Bryce Harper hits the ball extremely hard, has 23 home runs, 11 stolen bases, a 133 WRC plus. Absolute star in every way. Little bit cheaper than Schwarbs and Turner on the DraftKings slate. Slightly more expensive than Turner, but well offset from Schwarbs on FanDuel. If you needed to go, if you're looking at like a 3-man and you needed to save a little money, there's nothing wrong with taking those 2 and then one of the cheaper guys from down here, or even 2 of the cheaper guys from down there, and just saving on by leaving Schwarber out. He is fantastic. He is the top priority guy, like I said, but you have so much quality in this Phillies lineup, and it's a good matchup for everybody, that you can absolutely do that. Get 2 of the 3 superstars, save a little bit of money. Same deal over here. That said, you can obviously do this or this and take Schwarber along for the ride too. You want him. 4,200, 2,900, though, to drive the point home. JT Realmuto hits the ball extremely hard. Where you have to play catchers, he's very fairly priced. He's in the heart of this lineup. He's got 11 home runs, just a 134 ISO, but he's up to a 100 WRC plus. It's an adequate slash line at worst. That is a good catcher option in the heart of the Phillies against this pitcher. Brandon Marsh, 35-27, a lefty who has always hit the ball hard. In years past, he's been, better at spiked higher on base, but he's at a 335 this year, 273, 335, 411, 106 WRC plus. He hasn't really found success at a 138 ISO and only 8 home runs in 359 chances, but it's not for lack of hitting the ball hard. It's just lost a little bit of barrel, little happenstance in there. Nicky Castellanos, solid barrel rate again this season, 3,800, 2,900. He's got 16 home runs, just a 150 ISO, but always playable, 91 WRC plus. Alec Bohm is always interesting, 275, 322, 391. Had more power a couple of years ago, but has consistently hit the ball hard in this 6.5, 45% range, 5%, 5.7, 41.7. We need to find a little bit more launch, a little bit more barrel rate, and we'll start hitting more home runs. But that is a solid on-base, correlated scoring, low strikeout, put the ball in play and hit it hard type option from the right side. And he's affordable at 41 at 28. Bryson Stott, solid stolen base option if he happens to get on. A little bit of upside for individual contribution as well. More a situational home run hitter, but fills counting stats. And a 121 WRC plus on Harrison Bader has been basically tremendous for the Phillies. 14 home runs, 10 stolen bases. It's the best version of Harrison Bader that you're going to get. 10.9% barrel rate. That said, a 313 xWOBA speaks to the averageness overall of the player. On the Marlins side, wouldn't really be looking too much to attack Chris Sanchez here. He is pretty tremendous, but if you're doing it, your priorities are up top with Xavier Edwards at 45.29. Solid average and on base guy. Just a 93 WRC plus, but can steal a bag if he gets on. He's a low strikeout, medium walk, so you got balls in play. They're just not well struck. Agustin Ramirez hits the ball hard, so does Jacob Marcy so far. Although Marcy lefty probably takes a ding here. I'm not going to take the time to look it up because we're just not playing this team. 5,000, 3,400 for Marcy. He's been off to a tremendous start, over 134 plate appearances, 333, 410, 581, a 248 ISO. Fine, I'll look it up. Damn it. In his 39 same-handed plate appearances, he's actually been pretty damn good. Glad I looked it up. 375, 462, 656 with a 281 ISO. 203 WRC plus same-handed. I still don't want to attack Chris Sanchez, but given that, again, it's still an incredibly small sample, and it's just those plate appearances were part of his ridiculously hot start. But he has succeeded at the major league level against major league lefties. Just not all lefties are created equal. But Marcy at 5 at 34, I guess, if you're going Marlins, is on the board. Augustin is definitely interesting for power upside, though. Reasonably affordable catcher, 19 home runs, 11 stolen bases. It's just Chrissy Sanchez doesn't really give up too many home runs. So it's kind of futile to try. Otto Lopez, just a mix and match guy in the heart of the lineup. Eddie Berto hits the ball hard from the right side. Mixed success over 214 plate appearances, just a 161 ISO, 7 home runs, but does have that 111 WRC plus. One of 2 guys in this lineup who are positive run creators right now. Connor Norby, Eric Wagaman, Joey Weimer, and Javier Sanoa down lineup. Mix and match guys all. I would say Norby is probably the most interesting guy for the batted ball events. But that said, they've resulted in just 6 home runs in 295 chances. And Wagaman has 9 home runs in his 458. Everybody down there is in the 80s or 70s for WRC plus because they're on the Marlins and they suck. Chrissy Sanchez is the story here. It's Sanchez. It's Phillies bats. Really wouldn't be looking to play anything in Marlins, even for contrarian reasons. You're not succeeding that many times if you're rolling this team against Chris Sanchez. He's just good. So their bats would be above Belloso, though, if I have to rank it. Yanks lineup came in. Stanton is in. Jazzy's playing. Let's rewind real quick for the Yankees because it's a little bit different. We get Jose Caballero instead of Anthony Volpe as well, which is what they should keep doing. So we still get the big lefties up at the top. We still get Judge, Belly, Stanton, Jazz in the lineup, toughing it out. 28 homers, 26 stolen bases, a 257 ISO, a 132 WRC plus. He's fantastic. Goldie slots in the 7 spot for just 38 for 29. That's a solid option as well. We don't love him against righties. He's been one of the best hitters in baseball when he's faced lefties this year, and against righties, he's been a little bit challenged. Against lefties, 370, 444, 646 with a 276 ISO and a 196 WRC plus. So essentially against lefties, he's been Aaron Judge. And against righties, 242, 281, 328 with a 0.086 ISO and a 70 WRC plus. So against righties, he's been essentially me. Slightly better. And then Caballero at the bottom spot, 39-28 across multiple positions on both sides. More desirable positioning for him on the FanDuel side, but an interesting option. He's a hit tool focused player, but he gets on at a 334 clip. He's drawn a bunch of walks this year with 12.7% walk rate. Fits right into the team theme and steals a ton of bases when he happens to get on. 42 stolen bases, and they've been aggressive with him about that. Just a 90 WRC plus for the season, but when he's in this lineup, that makes him interesting, and his ability to get on base and reset the table for all that thunder up at the top. Get to first, steal second. One of those guys hits walks, and then the other one hits a home run, and you are set at those prices. So real interesting option down the lineup. Gilbert, 95, 10, 3, Sale, 10, 5, 10, 4. They're the story in this one. 34.2% strikeouts up top, 31.5% down bottom. 2.45 ERA, a 3.12 xFIP for Sale over 16 starts, 95 and a third. Absolutely fantastic option. You can see some strikeout on deck for the Mariners, 22.3% for the season, and Sale's just tremendous at finding them. That said, he was out from June to August, June 18th to August 30th. Came back on the 30th, went 6, 1 earned run on 3 hits against the Phils, struck out 9, looking like himself. Prior to that, 8 2/3 in his last start before that absence, 7 innings, multiple 7-inning starts. The depth is there. I think 7 innings is in the cards if everything goes great. I think 6 innings is the automatic. Looks like a monster. Logan Gilbert, excellent at pitching deep into games as well. 103 innings over 20 starts this season. 6 innings in each of his last 2, 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks against the Guardians last time out, 1 earned run, struck out 13 against the Athletics. The start before that, though, that's the one we're really looking for, especially at the DraftKings price. 9,500 feels a little generous. These Braves, not a tremendous strikeout target, but this is bolstered by 3 guys in the 15s. If you look at everybody else, that's a 23.3% strikeout rate. So 6 of these guys are more targetable for strikeout downside. I think it's fairly reasonable to expect a decent start here out of Gilbert. He's allowed a little bit of barrel hard hit exit velocity this year on a little bit more of a trajectory, 3.80% home runs. It's led to the 3.73 ERA, but you can see the tremendous 2.63 xFIP, the 15.7% swinging strike rate. He is absolutely ridiculous. The strikeout to walk ratio is one of the best in baseball year over year. Everything about Logan Gilbert speaks to beating this Braves team. 401 implied total for them is noteworthy that they crept above 4 against him. If you're considering Mariners bats, we don't have their lineup yet. But Randy Arozarena, excellent option from the top. A lot of individual upside, 26 homers, 25 steals. Tremendous table setter as well, 336 on base. Drawn down to 8.9% walks. We've slipped a little bit, but still very good at getting on base up there and provides plenty of individual upside, a 208 ISO, a 346 xWOB. But Cal Raleigh, 51 home runs on the season, 373 xWOB under the surface, a 336 ISO staring us in the face. Monster power option, 10.94, the only guy above a 10 in the home run model on Seattle. 5,400 for Julio. He hits the ball extremely hard. He's up to 28 home runs now, 24 stolen bases. How high are we going to go? 121 WRC plus. Eugenio Suarez, 42 home runs, a 302 ISO. This team's got plenty of power. If anybody's going to get to Chris Sale, some of those righty bats with a little bit of pop in them might be the culprits. But that said, Sale tends to, even if something pops for power, tends to limit what that home run looks like. Usually doesn't come with anybody on base. So you need multiple shots at it, and that's where you get a little bit limited against such a tremendous pitcher. Josh Naylor, 41-32. Don't love the lefty against the lefty like this for anybody, but that is a solid bat. 16 home runs, 23 stolen bases, an excellent on-base option, a 116 WRC+. Jorge Polanco, switch hitter with a little bit of pop, 39-29 with second base eligibility. He's hit 23 home runs this season. Mitch Garver's cheap at catcher. That's another solid hitter in terms of the ability to make good contact. 8% barrels, 46% hard hits this year. So resulted in just 8 home runs and a 129 ISO. The output hasn't been there, but the contact has. JP Crawford, another good on-base option. I like him down lineup as a wraparound guy. And then Victor Robles, also interesting. Hasn't been a good 60 plate appearances so far. Missed most of the season. 267 on base and 4 stolen bases. Threw a bat at a pitcher during his rehab assignment, which was a little bit ugly. But he's a low strikeout, medium walk, put the ball in play with interesting but not aggressive contact type, and he steals bases, and he's got like mid-board type power. So for a cheap price, if you're going to this team for foolish reasons against Chris Sale, Robles is not a bad mixer. On the Braves side, Jerkson Profar, apparently paternity leave, so it actually was a fertility drug that he was taking. Who knew? 5,000. I guess we owe him an apology. 5,300 for him. He's been all right. 258, 362, 472, a 133 WRC plus, a 215 ISO, 12 home runs and 271 plate appearances, sub 16% strikeouts, a 12.9% walk rate. He's been a lot better than all right. 5,000 feels expensive. The most expensive player, more expensive than Matt Olson, more expensive than, well, it's a mixed bag of Braves hitters today. That still feels high. Same with 38 on FanDuel. I don't love those prices, especially not going against Logan Gilbert. Matt Olson would be a priority if I'm choosing to attack Gilbert. 46-33, I'm looking for him to capitalize on some of the barrel, some of the fly ball, the home runs that Gilbert slipped with a little bit this year. That said, we're still stuck at 21 home runs with Olson. We're down to a 188 ISO. Uncharacteristic lack of output despite a 13.2% barrel, 53% hard hit. Ozzie Albies has surged. 15 home runs, 12 stolen bases, and 88 WRC plus still bad. Everything else is still pretty bad. So is the contact, but low strikeout, upper medium walk rate. Solid option at 4,000 at 2,900 if we continue the return to form. Drake Baldwin's got power from the catcher spot, double-digit barrels, 50% hard hits, 15 home runs and 358 chances. Makes them interesting. Ha-Sung Kim hit this team's first shortstop home run of the year the other day. He's got interesting power and speed upside. Stat filler for DFS, 33.26, reasonably priced. Michael Harris, solid in terms of home run and stolen base upside from him as well. He and Ozzie Albies returning to form would be major for this team if they can sustain it. He did have a very nice month-long run, cooled off a little bit in the last week, 10 days. 83 WRC plus on the season. We'll see where it goes over the last few weeks, but still a very capable option. Low strikeout, extremely low walk. So when he's on and making contact, he makes very good contact and he frequently puts the ball in play. Marcell Ozuna, just 35-29, 20 home runs over 523 plate appearances. The production's down, the output's down, but still drawing a 16.6% walk rate is pretty tremendous up top. 115 WRC plus. 174 ISO is definitely down from our expectations. Played hurt for a big chunk of the season. Still keeping up a very solid barrel rate at 11.9%, so still a big threat for power and gets on base like crazy. Interesting as a wraparound from the further down in the lineup he goes. Jake Fraley's a mix and match quality outfielder, and Nacho Alvarez hasn't shown us much at the major league level. Chris Sale, Logan Gilbert. I guess Braves bats over Mariners bats, but really with these two lineups, I kind of prefer these guys. I don't really want to attack either of these pitchers. I forget how it ranked on the stacks board. I'm not going to take the time to look. For the show, I'm going to say Mariners over Braves, just because of this kind of shaky Braves lineup that they're rolling out. And again, you just don't want either one. Guards and the Rays. Again, this is the one game that does have a little bit of weather concern with some lingering storms that are apparently a little bit tough to predict. So just keep an eye on that. Gav Williams, pretty cheap, 76-83, going up against a Rays team that is at a 20.6% strikeout rate, but that's bolstered by 14 there and a couple low marks there. Everybody else, including the 19, that's a 24.5% strikeout rate. So that same thing kind of applies here. I think there's a little bit of additional strikeout upside that might be hidden under that average for Gav Williams. He, of course, does have to get through Chandler Simpson, Johnny Diaz, etc., but good enough to do it. 3.26 ERA, but a 4.19 xFIP. Some of the flaws are visible. 12% walk is definitely concerning, but even with that, he's at a 1.29 whip, which is not good, but you would expect higher against a 12% walk rate. He misses bats, 11.5% swinging strike rate, a 23.6% strikeout rate. Too much premium contact. The launch angle is entirely manageable, which has saved him on the home runs, saved him some barrels, but 8.8% barrels is high against that average launch angle. 42.6% hard hits is over our threshold. So is the exit velo mark. So believable power working against him, especially for guys like Brandon Lau, Junior Caminero in the heart of the lineup on the other side. But I think there's enough reason to have faith in Gav at 76. I think there's a little upside on these already pretty solid for the money projections. 83 on FanDuel, there's nothing wrong with using him. But the downside is the ballpark works against. The Rays are a more than capable lineup. They're pulling a 4.35 implied total, and he has given up all that power. So you get the downside. The walks come through, a couple walks, and then Junior's up, and we go deep, and it gets problematic awfully quickly. No promises on Gav, but a talented kid. And then this is going to be Griffin Jax, who is tremendous. 4.98 ERA, but a 2.14 xFIP in his relief work, 35.2% strikeout rate. One of the top just overall plus rated pitchers in stuff plus, location plus, pitching plus across the league. He's given up a little hard hit, a little bit of power, 2.83% home run. He's blown some saves, and the ERA is definitely ugly, but the xFIP is sparkling, 18.4% swinging strike rate. He is likely to face 1 inning's worth of hitters and just take the top off of Steven Kwan and Ano Ramirez and Ano Martinez and Jose Ramirez in the first inning or whatever the Guardians roll out here. But then that's probably it for Griffin Jax. I don't think we want to use him at 4,000. If he takes the mound for a second inning is where it gets debatable on that 4,000 price, because he does have immense strikeout upside. So the more he pitches for the cheap price, I just expect we're looking at a pure just 1 inning opener here, though. And then we roll back over to Ian Seymour. So assuming that this is something like what the Guardians look like, you've got some threat against as far as a couple guys who are capable against lefties here. Seymour comes in with a 31.1% strikeout rate in his 2 starts, his 33 and a third, 2.97 ERA with just a 3.03 xFIP. Kid's been pretty decent. Five innings in a full start the last time out. Gave up 4 runs, but only one of them was earned. That was against the Nationals. 8 strikeout game, 1 walk. Faced 21 hitters. Start before that was against these Guardians at Cleveland. He 1-hit them, kept them off the board, struck out 8, walked 1. So obviously some upside there. Working behind the opener is less than ideal. But the kid's got undeniable talent. 78, 74 without the with the limited options at any kind of bonuses. Gets dicey. Those would be, I think, correct prices if we were getting a full start on DraftKings. It would be legitimately cheap if we were getting a full start on FanDuel. Taking away the quality start, all that on the FanDuel slate just makes it less and less appealing. But the kid is good. Wouldn't really be that interested in Guardians bats. I can see them striking out quite a bit. 24% strikeout rate for this projected version of the lineup. That's with the 8.8 and the 10.6 in there. It gets ugly if you take them out. So plenty of Ks on deck for whoever's pitching for the Rays. Steven Kwan, solid table setter up top, but just a 328 on base, 272 average this season, sub below league average WRC plus, just a 308 XWOB, but it hasn't really been particularly great. Just very low strikeout, medium walk, average contact. Ano Martinez finds some success against lefties. Jose Ramirez finds success against everybody. Martinez has 10 home runs on the board, a 225, 264, 361 hitter overall. Not overly appealing outside of being cheap at the top of the lineup. If you're playing Kwan and Ramirez, you can stick him into a stack. David Fry is probably the more interesting guy for that, though. 31-24, 7 home runs, but a little bit of legitimate power from him. 189 ISO on the season, over 137 chances. Ramirez has 27 homers, 36 stolen bases, a 128 WRC plus. Kyle Manzardo, 3,900, 2,900, has 25 home runs, a 235 ISO, legitimate power from him. We'd rather have him against righties. Wouldn't expect him to necessarily find success against Griffin Jax if he sees him at all, though. Jean-Kenzie Noel, if he's in the lineup, 2,100, 2,200. A lot of righty thunder in that bat, although this year over 123 plate appearances has been entirely missing. 0.092 ISO, 3 home runs, 3.7% barrels. Last year, he had a 14.5% barrel rate over a limited sample. It was like 200 plate appearances, 198 plate appearances. He had 13 home runs in that, 268 ISO. Kid's got very, very realistic power upside. He's a dart throw if he's in the lineup at all. Gabriel Arias hits the ball very hard, pretty regularly. That said, it amounts to 10 home runs, a 145 ISO. There's really not much there other than some premium contact from time to time. He also strikes out at a 33.8% rate. Just going to bounce off these strikeout pitchers. Brian Rocchio, here for mostly for defense. Austin Hedges, not really much of a bat at the plate at all. Chandler Simpson's interesting, but 4,800 is a big price tag, 3,000 on FanDuel. He gets on at a 324 clip, 39 stolen bases, just an 84 WRC plus, though. You're not getting all that regular in terms of contributions out of him. You get runs scored, you get some stolen base bonus. He's only okay. as far as the consistency of the DFS production, but he's got a fantastic hit tool, so he can be good for a couple of base hits, a stolen base, and maybe a couple of runs scored. Definitely a player that needs help from his friends to really pay off, and that's where I object to having him as high priced as DraftKings does. Johnny Diaz at 51.32, a little bit differently priced across sites as well. Solid barrel and hard hit rates out of him, 22 home runs, a 351 on base, 126 WRC plus. Fantastic table setter while being a good individual contributor across the board. Brandon Lau has 28 home runs. Junior Caminero has 40. He's also driven in 102 if you care about RBIs. 275 ISO, a 226 for the lefty second baseman Brandon Lau. Definitely think you can throw that top four at Gav Williams, and then if you want a fifth guy, you can pick somebody from further down. Josh Lowe would be a good target there, 45-31. Had a bad season so far, 9 home runs, 17 stolen bases, a 151 ISO, and 89 WRC plus, but we know that he's quite a bit better than that, so I would still have some faith, but him being the most high priced among those guys takes a little of the appeal away. You do have Carson Williams down there at 39.26. That's a high caliber prospect shortstop, so I would consider some of him probably over Jake Mangum, Richie Palacios, or Hunter Fiducia. Fiducia hasn't really hit the ball well over 64 plate appearances. Palacios just a mix and match guy, and Mangum's just a quad A player, though he has hit for average. He's still at 296, 331, 367. A little bit resurgent, if I'm remembering those numbers correctly. 22 stolen bases, plays a decent outfield, so he'd probably be number 2 on that list. I'd say 1, 2, 3 if this is the order in which they fall as far as the batting order goes. Glasnow scratched. That's a problem. Kind of wish we had known that before I spent 10 minutes talking about him. See if we can get that confirmed. Whoops. Oh, God, it's almost 4 o'clock already. Glasnow scratched. Ohtani starting. Ohtani's a hitter on both sides today. Presumably his pitching stats are not going to score. He will. He is still in the lineup leading off the usual spot. But that's a big change. Obviously, Ohtani's tremendous. Certainly doesn't make the Orioles any more appealing. Did complete the 5th last time out against Cincinnati. 9 strikeout game, 1 earned run. Gave up a homer in that one, but was tremendous. I would expect 5 again. I think that's probably what we're going to see as the cap, at least through the end of the regular season. And then maybe they unleash him for 6, assuming they're in the playoffs. But that's I would expect that we're not going to get him added to the slate or changed at this late hour. See if they added a note or anything. Probably not yet. This is recent news. Yeah, no notes up or anything on the sites about his scoring. I would assume they'll just still, since they both got him listed as a hitter, just his hitting stats will play and there won't be a problem. The reason I would get concerned, though, is when he pitches, they don't count his hitting stats, but they don't have him slotted in that way, and I think that has to be pre-programmed. So I think we're all right to use Shohei as a hitter still. What do we think this is, NBA? Yeah, I thought it was going to be the NFL show that trips me up for scratches and stuff, because I still got to get on top of a couple inactives as we get toward lock for that. And I was hoping to not go as long as I apparently am going on this one, because I still need to put together a couple of pieces of notes for the show that I'm going to do probably now at 5:30 for the single game NFL contest tonight. If you're not aware, NFL going with a Friday night game today. Also, if you're not aware, and it's been scrolling across the screen this entire time, you can get a $15 month. It doesn't have to be your first month ever. It just has to be the first new month of a monthly plan. Promo code KICKOFF. That's 33% off our usual under $1 a day. Gets you down to 50 cents a day for the month. Includes NFL and MLB. That same plan will kick back up to our usual under $1 a day price in your subsequent months, but will also then include, as they start up, the NHL, the NBA, anything else that we can happen to think of and find time for. Yes, R. Jones. Help and drag things out. Ricky Lee saying this bumps Gavin ownership by million now. I would expect him to be pretty popular at that price, just in general, honestly. That's a just good price for him. And he's good enough. It would also, though, it kind of does make the Rays an interesting team if he's going to be popular to throw at him. Because they've got plenty of power against. This ballpark, again, is favorable for some of that lefty power. Junior can hit one out of any park. So they're an interesting enough lineup if he gets popular to use as a contrarian team. I would keep them in mind for that role if you're building a lot of lineups. All right, so that's a changeup. I'll take care of that after the show as far as getting the site updated. Let me throw a quick note up on the site, though. Actually, how many games do we have left? A lot. Yeah. So, Pablo, as long as we're getting 6, I think we're okay to throw him if you want. 93, 98, though, you're not really getting any kind of a discount for the recent absence. This is his 12th start of the year. He has not pitched since June 3rd. Made 3 minor league rehab starts, got out to 5 2/3 in the last one. Kept Detroit's affiliate off the board. 4 hits, 7 strikeouts, and a walk. So as long as we can get something comparable to that, he's a guy with a 24.7% strikeout rate against a sparkling 5.7% walk, 2.82 ERA, but a 3.66 xFIP. Didn't really allow too much in terms of premium contact or power. Was excellent at inducing weak and medium contact. Those are ongoing attributes for him, but it's more extended into like middle type contact from last year. So I wouldn't expect him necessarily to keep this team entirely in check for power. And what I just don't like, as I'll keep on harping on, is these low strikeout numbers for the Royals. I don't like attacking them with really anybody who's not the Chris Sale level ace, the top end guy. Pablo's next, maybe 2 tiers down. He's good, but I don't know that he's that good. I don't know that it necessarily pays off those prices. Should be a little bit cheaper, really. Waka, though, 6,900, 8,400, definitely priced across sites. Very much in play in the SP2 conversation on DraftKings. 27 not bad starts this season, 3.52 ERA, but a 4.48 xFIP is probably the realistic expectation for who Michael Waka actually is. Sub 20% strikeout, but it only comes with a 6.2% walk. He can still miss bats, 10% swinging strike rate. Has been terrific in terms of limiting premium contact, 33.8% hard hits and 87.4 miles an hour of exit velo, even on a fly ball trajectory. Difficult to homer against, 2.06% home run rate this year. There are obvious things that are not great. They're not, the ideal. You don't have a top end ace on your hands here, but he is more than good enough to get through this Twins team. And there are some strikeouts available here, 22.9% strikeout rate for this projected version of the lineup. If you go through the more complete samples, that's 20.9%, but you do have some high end targets through that. Some of these guys offset low. So at worst, it aligns for an average-ish kind of a Michael Waka start. Maybe gets to 1-5. Last handful of starts, though, hasn't gotten above 5 strikeouts, so maybe 4 should be the expectation. Struck out 4 over 6 innings against the Tigers at Detroit, give up just 3 earned runs, but 8 hits. 4 strikeouts, a walk, a home run allowed. That was 2 starts ago. Last time out, got through 4 2/3. Faced 20 hitters. That was also against the Tigers. That was in KC. Struck out 4, walk 1, no homer allowed in that one, but gave up 4 earned runs on 5 hits. 5 2/3 against Texas, 9 hits, but only 2 earned runs, 3 strikeout game. Pretty decent at giving you 5 shot at completing the 6th inning. So very much in play over here on the board on FanDuel, but less appealing. At 84, I just think there's probably somebody better. Yeah, I'd rather have Gav at 83, even with popularity. Soriano might be sneaky at 82. You could find a way to one of these options. So just on the board on the FanDuel slate, not the most appealing option. Byron Buxton at 59.43, 12.62, the only Twins bat above the magic number in the home run model. Again, Waka, just not necessarily the easiest guy to generate power against. 29 homers, 21 steals for Buxton this season, though. Monster barrel and hard hit. If anybody can do it, that's your man. Trevor Larnach, 37.28, has 16 home runs. Solid contributor. Average contact this year, but has been better for barrels in years past. Wouldn't be unreasonable to see a home run out of him. 107 WRC plus against a 330 on base percentage. Good run creator. 4,832 for Luke Keishel's totally fine. He's been really interesting over 141 chances, 328, 418, 508, a 161 WRC plus. Doesn't hit the ball particularly hard, but low strikeout, high walk. He's been excellent across the board. Matt Wallner's got a lot of power from the left side, 38, 3,000, 21 home runs and 351 chances at 275 ISO, major premium contact numbers. Cody Clemens, 2 spots later, another big lefty bat. Monster premium contact out of him, 15 homers in 313 chances. Neither guy is at all consistent as far as batting average, if you care about that. On base kind of comes and goes with both guys, but major sources of power from the left side. Ryan Jeffers in between is a playable catcher, 262, 353, 394, a 111 WRC plus, up and down performance, but an average player. Royce Lewis still hitting the ball hard, still low strikeout, medium walk, but 233, 289, 387, just seeing nothing for any of those positive attributes. Brooks Lee's a mix and match quality infielder. He's hit 14 home runs. James Outman continues to be interesting as a cheap outfield option from the left side with some power. He's only hit 2 home runs in 97 plate appearances. Just kind of ignore what we see this year, except for the 10.2% barrel. We can pay attention to that. 2 years ago, 23 home runs, 16 stolen bases in 567 chances in Los Angeles. I continue to believe that player's in there somewhere. Yaz at the top of the Royals projected lineup. I guess I could see if we got these in. We do have this. Yaz is at the top of the Royals confirmed lineup. He's interesting up there, little individual contribution for power and has good on-base skills. So it sets the table for all the truly interesting hitters in this lineup. I do think you could use these Royals against... What? How did that become the Yankees? That was weird. Okay, we're back. I do think you can use these Royals against Pablo in his return. As decent as he can be, there is upside for them given their low strikeout nature, their ability to put the ball in play, and if they can chase him in a hurry, then we're just dealing with the bullpen here. So I think there's upside. Bobby Witt at 57.39 would be a big part of that. 21 home runs, 34 stolen bases, a 380 XWOBA, but he is just absolutely fantastic at shortstop. Vinny is just 4,000, 3,000 across sites. He's got 29 home runs right now. We're going 30 plus, 209 ISO, a 111 WRC plus, 341 XWOBA. We're moving from Vinny to get Alec Boehm to get back to power next year. That's our new project. Vinny has gotten there. Congratulations. Did everything we wanted. 4,600, 3,000 for Michael Garcia, 15 home runs, 22 stolen bases. Another player just tremendous this season. Sal has 24 home runs, a 205 ISO. People probably sleeping on him at the cheap 4,000, 2,700. Super playable option at the catcher spot. Interesting one-off at that cheap price, honestly. You're going up against a pitcher who doesn't allow too much in terms of home run or premium contact. That would be your major downside. But Sal is more than capable of putting one in the seats against the average launch angle. Just give me the fly ball opportunities with such heavy contact. Adam Frazier, Michael Massey, Jack Caglianone, and Kyle Isbell going down the lineup. Caglianone's the standout down there. 5 home runs in 164 chances, just a 132 ISO and a 30 WRC plus is concerning, but a 336 XWOBA stands out in the on the right side of the page, and the 12% barrel, the 42.7% hard hit, and the fact that he's just one of the top prospect hitters in baseball with a lot of power in the minors. Love it at 23, at 24 on FanDuel with first base eligibility. Michael Massey can square the ball up. He's only got 2 home runs this year, but he's a much better hitter than that. Adam Frazier, Kyle Isbell, mix and match guys that share some positional eligibility. Frazier having a nice year at 270, 322, 373, but only a 91 WRC plus, non-mandatory overall. If Lopez were cheaper, I'd be tempted to give it to him. Right now, he's just kind of I don't know what the ceiling looks like. I'm going to say Royals bats, overpriced Pablo, Michael Wacha, Twins bats. I think that's right. Astros Rangers. No lineups here. So this pitching matchup switched earlier in the day. It was originally Hunter Brown. Now it's Colton Gordon. That line didn't move as much as I would have expected with that, though. Gordon's pitched to a 5.64 ERA and a 4.15 xFIP. He's been all right with a 20% strikeout against just 4.2% walks over 13 starts, 68 2/3. But he has given up a lot of barrel, a lot of hard hit in there, 5.48% home runs that play up some of the righty power this Rangers lineup most definitely has. Not a safe spot, but very cheap at 63, 69 on FanDuel. Last time out, just 2 innings. That was on the 12th. 4 innings. Yeah, you know what? I question what the innings actually are going to look like here. Might have them a little high. I did it on the fly when I had to switch it out, and maybe I gave them too much. Let's see. We did go... Let's see. 23rd, 17th, and the 30th. All right, so all 3 of those are after his most recent Major League start. The most recent Major League start was on the 12th, and then he went 2 innings in that one, was bad. Went 4 innings in the start before that and was bad. Prior to that, he had been pitching regular full starts. So I think it was just that those 2 were really bad. And then he did go down to the farm and made 3 starts in AAA. Did go 6 in one of them. 4 innings and was okay, but struck out 5 and walked 4, so the pitch count got away from him in another one. The most recent one, 3 2/3 against Colorado's affiliate, so it was a PCL start. 3 earned runs on 3 hits, 3 strikeout, 2 walk. Presumably pitch count got away there a little bit as well. 5 is probably all right as an expectation. I think if they got 5 quality innings out of him here, they'd probably pull the plug. Again, the major concern would be the power, the premium contact that he's allowed so far. Otherwise, the numbers are okay. The lack of walks is appealing. But the premium contact probably burns him against a lineup with some capable hitters still in it. If it's this version of the Rangers, though, I mean, it's Michael Hellman up top for the righty-lefty, 3,600, 2,600, 250, 333, 550 so far with 3 home runs and 3 steals in his 46 plate appearances. This is a player who had 9 home runs and 12 stolen bases while slashing 231, 294, 406 with a 72 WRC plus in the minor leagues this year as a 29-year-old. So I think we temper expectations for Michael Hellman to really continue this solid run. Ezekiel Duran, nothing more than a solid mix and match guy, 23-23. He's in a decent lineup spot if he's hitting from up there. Typically, we find him down lineup, and we get a little sneaky production from him from time to time. But 64 WRC plus with a terrible slash line over 174 chances, no home runs, 7 stolen bases. There is no appeal there, and he'd be wildly miscast in modern baseball hitting second. Wyatt Langford should probably be in that 2 spot, 45-37, the only expensive bat on this team. 21 home runs, 18 stolen bases, 248, 339, 439, a 191 ISO, a 116 WRC plus, capable of tremendous output, 12.8% barrel, 47.3% hard hit. Jake Berger has similar premium contact numbers. He's hit 12 home runs in 315 chances, a 177 ISO, but has been a better power bat than that in the recent past. 29 home runs in 579 last year, 34 in 540 the year before. So very realistic righty thunder from both of those guys could do a lot of damage against this. Josh Young at 38-29 has 13 home runs on the board in 424 chances, a 143 ISO. Adolis Garcia has been out of the lineup the last couple of days, but they haven't put him on the IL, so he may be in here as well. That would be another very realistic monster power bat to throw at all the contact and the premium contact from Colton Gordon, and it would make the Rangers more interesting. But Young is a capable hitter, given the barrels, the hard hits, and the production in the past. Even this year, we're up to 256, 300, 398. It's not a great slash line, but he's pulling it together a little bit. 13 home runs, a 143 ISO. Again, not great output for power, but the 13, if he gets to 15 home runs, looks a little bit better in the box score at the end of the career. 310 xWOBA obviously needs work. Higgy up to an 8.7% barrel. He's hit his 10 home runs. We'll see if he can get any more than that through the end of September. Cody Freeman, better than a mix and match player if we include some of the production on the way up. 2,900, 2,300, kind of interesting. 2 home runs and 50 plate appearances so far. I think you can throw some darts at that if you're already stacking Rangers. It's kind of an interesting bat down lineup. Jonah Heim, 7.67 in the home run model, and then Dylan Moore, 7.43. Each of those hitters has 10 home runs. Neither of those hitters is at all consistent. 70 and an 83 WRC plus. On the Astros side, they're going up against Merrill Kelly, who is good. 3.24 ERA, a 3.83 xFIP, 22.7% strikeouts, 7% walks. He's an above average pitcher. He's given up a little bit in terms of premium contact, though. It's something to watch. 9.8% barrel, 43.7% hard hit, 90.4 miles an hour of exit velo, just a 3.21% home run, but probably a little lucky to be down there given that both of those are above the threshold, and that's good as. 10.6% swinging strikes, though, capable of punching hitters out. Works deep into ball games, 164 innings over his 28 starts. Just been good and pretty consistently good. Has finished the 6th inning at least in, call it like 7 of his last 10 starts. Only really one rough one, 4 1/3 against Philly. He gave up 4 earned runs, struck out 4, but walked 5. That was a problematic start. The other one's pretty clean outside of some home runs allowed. Home run, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts. 2 home runs, but only 2 earned runs, only those 2 hits. 2 home runs, only 3 earned runs allowed last time out over 6 1/3 against the Athletics. 3 earned runs on 6 hits. Only struck out 2 in that game. That was an oddly low-end performance as far as the Ks go. Typically, we're in the 5-6 range with upside to 7-8. Against a low strikeout Astros team, I wouldn't necessarily expect the Ks. And then it becomes a question of, can we continue threading the needle as far as the power? Obviously, we've got Jordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, Iso Sanchez, Christian Walker. There are a lot of power-hitting bats in this lineup, but he's gotten them checked down somewhat in the home run model. Even Jordan, below the magic number in the model. He's hit 5 in his 158 plate appearances. The numbers are already bouncing back up. 273, 373, 438, a 404 xWOBA under the surface, a 120 WRC plus. Just one of the best bats in the sport. Take advantage of the 4,400. Take advantage even of 3,600, even as the most expensive Astro. That's 400 at least too cheap to find Jordan Alvarez against anybody. And 44 on DraftKings continues to be stupid. Jeremy Pena at 5 at 33, very playable, 15 homers, 20 steals, tremendous season out of him, a 135 WRC plus. Altuve, 24 home runs and 9 stolen bases. People were worried about him at the beginning of the season, thought he was dead. He is not dead. 115 WRC plus, 181 ISO. He's been totally solid. 305 xWOBA would be the concern there, but it's largely based on the lack of premium contact that he exhibits. He just has always gotten away with these numbers and found his home run balls. Carlos Correa at 4,000 at 2,900, entirely reasonable at shortstop, third base. 46.8% hard hits, low strikeout, medium walk, 10 home runs, 101 WRC plus. More productive opportunity than that. 41.28 for Iso Sanchez is cheap. 13 home runs from him, but better contact than that, and has always made excellent contact from the left side. Fairly low strikeout this year as well at 20.6. Christian Walker's had a rough year, but he's up to 21 home runs, 170 ISO and climbing. Jainer Diaz has also had a rough year, but he's up to 18 homers, 89 WRC plus. The contact remains solid. The strikeouts remain low. So does the walk. So you get a lot of that premium contact. Ramon Urias has hit the ball hard all season. So has Taylor Trammell in his limited plate appearances. Urias has found more success at 250, 299, 393, but that's a mixed bag of a slash line. 90 WRC plus for both players, 301 xWOBA for both players. Tough. I don't think that Rangers total correctly reflects the Colton Gordon of this. I gotta say, we changed it. You watched me change it at the beginning of the show for what that line is now. But I don't know. That feels awfully low. Merrill Kelly, Rangers bats. Astros bats Colton Gordon. I think is probably right. Giants cards. Mike McGreevy, 58.75, 14% strikeouts against 3.9%, walks over 11 starts, 69 innings. Not exactly big DFS numbers. 4.17 ERA, 4.23 xFIP. You can get through a real life baseball start with him, but what are we really getting for DFS? At 58, maybe if you can work your way to the win bonus, you can see a little something there, but there's not much meat on the bone given those numbers. And then Carson Seymour on the other side. 7.34% home runs allowed across his 24 2/3. Again, that's 8 home runs to how many hitters did I say? It's 8 home runs allowed to 109 hitters in the show so far. And then as a 26-year-old in AAA this season, he's allowed another 7 home runs to 335 hitters, which is not bad. That's a sub 1 home run per 9. But in AAA last season, had a mid ones, 134 home run per 9, allowed 20 to 597 hitters. Again, as at an advanced age in AAA. Just bumpy output at several stops along his development. I think the power against is pretty realistic. Several cards and the realistic ones above the magic number. A couple other guys hovering just, kind of in mid-board type. If we had Wilson Contreras, I'd be singing their praises a little bit more aggressively. I do still like the spot because of the cheap home run upside that's on deck here. Lars Nootbaar from the left side hits the ball very hard, 10.4% barrels and 51.8% hard hits. It's only turned into 13 home runs and a 144 ISO, but if the kid's coughing up a 20.3% barrel rate, you can see a 4.9 degree average launch there, which flies in the face of all of that. But obviously the mistakes get up and out of the ballpark pretty quickly and aggressively. Ivan Herrera, 14.87 to lead the team in the home run model today. He's got a 10.2% barrel, 46.7% hard hit. He's hit 13 long balls in 358 chances, but just a 161 ISO. The power can come and go a little bit. Mason Wynn, just 9 home runs, not a monster power bat, pulling an 8.78 sub magic number in the home run model. That's pushed up more by the opponent, I think, than anything else. He's okay, though. He can find some situational pop. He hit 15 last year, so I don't think it's totally unrealistic to leave him at that number. Nolan Gorman, 3,900, 2,800, the best home run hitter on the team. 14 on the season in just 338 plate appearances, 189 ISO, 10% barrels, but that's down from 16 plus each of the last 2 years. Strikeouts have also come down. It's a fair enough trade from 37 last year to 31-1. This kid has very, very real power against a kid who has been giving up very, very real power. Love the upside for Nolan Gorman. Home run pick of the day. Thomas Segisi, mix and match, 2,400 across sites. Hasn't done anything special in 208 plate appearances. Cesar Prieto, assuming that's Prieto. 449 AAA plate appearances for Cesar this year, 295, 359, 448. Light hitter, 9 home runs, 11 stolen bases, but decent hit tool, on-base skills kind of a guy. Dead min price across sites. If you get him, that's a reasonable enough mix and match if you're building with this team. And then we get the power upside from Jordan Walker, 10.8% barrel, 49.8% hard hit. Tons of flaws on display. Bad season at 218, 272, 309, just a .091 ISO, 5 home runs. It's been lousy, but the kid's got power. He is real. There, once upon a time, was a very real prospect there, and they've just screwed him up completely. Could be a nice get-right night for Jordan Walker. Major upside. Jimmy Crooks, Victor Scott, mix and match. Scott will steal you a base. Crooks does the catching at a very cheap price here. Giants bats on the other side against McGreevy. I almost ranked him without talking about him. Elliot Ramos, dipping a little bit overall in quality, but still holding up a solid on base at 341. At worst, he's a good correlated scorer with individual upside because he hits the ball hard. He has hit 16 home runs this year, still getting on at a 341 clip, 112 WRC plus. Rafi Devers is a very solid option on any given slate. 30 home runs on the board, 228 ISO in a down season. He still looks pretty tremendous. Willy Adames has 26 homers. He's got a shot at getting to 30 before it's all said and done. That ISO will probably climb over 200. Major turnaround after like mid-May for Willie. Dom Smith, just a mix and match hitter. Hit to a focus guy, 284, 338, 404. He's found some success, 110 WRC plus. He's always playable. He's low strikeout, medium walk, but you're not getting much individual contribution. Just to put the ball in play, cycle the team, correlated scoring type. Matty Chapman gives you tons of individual upside, 20 home runs, 9 steals, 345 on base, a 125 WRC plus. Major premium contact and power, and honestly, pretty cheap at third base today. Jung-Hoo Lee at 37.29, mix and match guy for line drives, 262, 326, 406, a 106 WRC plus. Casey Schmidt, Patty Bailey, Drew Gilbert down lineup. Gilbert's probably your most interesting guy. 3 home runs in 51 chances so far, a 280 ISO, 260, 275, 540 slash line, 10% barrels in the small sample. That's an interesting enough outfielder. The other two are not much more than mix and match types, but Schmidt does have 10 home runs and is up to a 103 WRC plus, so he's been a positive contributor. Cards bats, Giants bats. Don't really need either of these pitchers. I don't think Seymour is going to give us much of anything. Probably not going to be in the game long enough. He also has only maxed out in like the 3-inning range. So I don't think you're expecting even 5 innings if everything's going beautifully would be the absolute ceiling here. The Padres are at Coors Field. Kyle Freeland pretty much off the board. 5.41 ERA, does have a 4.38 xFIP under that, but there's so much working against. And he's low strikeout even when everything's great. Gives up so much premium contact that just plays in this ballpark. Even on a 12.1 degree average launch, which cuts home runs a little bit for him, we're at a 3.60% home run rate, and it's just more about this Padres team's ability to put the ball in play and how that contact will work even if the ball stays in the yard in this giant ballpark. So it's just major downside. Nick Pivetta, on the other hand, 26.8% strikeout rate, 2.84 ERA, 3.79 xFIP, 6.7% walks. Keep himself out of trouble pretty effectively with that 0.94 whip versus the 1.52 for the guy on the other side to demonstrate the point. But there is a little downside visible given the barrels, the extreme launch angle, the 44% hard hits, the 90.2 miles an hour of exit velo. Overall, Pivetta, lucky to be sub 3% home runs, lucky to be sub 4% home runs, honestly, given those numbers. So that could work against in Coors Field. I left him alone at the projection because there's plenty of strikeout to support the upside, 23.4% strikeout rate for this full lineup. And if you take out the 10% from Tyler Freeman up top, that's 25%. If you leave the 28 at the bottom off, 25.6%. So there's a lot of K available here for Pivetta. Still a high danger spot, though. Don't fool yourself. 91.96. You're paying full price. This is Nick Pivetta pricing neutral ballpark against this team. Fernando Tatis looked pretty tremendous. Should be hitting second, but he leads off. 6,200, 4,000, 19 home runs, 27 stolen bases. The power output has definitely been slow this year. 169 ISO, not totally characteristic. It does not match the premium contact at all. The barrels have dipped a little bit, but he's still been tremendous all season. 127 WRC plus. He's not crazy expensive on FanDuel at just 4. That's a high price, obviously, but they could have gone higher for a player like this. DraftKings did 6,200. 18% strikeouts, 14% walks, 13.5% walks. He is absolutely fantastic. Luis Ariz, ideal opportunity for him to just put the ball in play, find a little success over and over again in this ballpark. 45.32. That's a good option. 284, 317, 391 season, a 100 WRC plus, but good correlated scoring. And again, just singles will play a little bit in this ballpark for him. Manny Machado at 59 at 38 has 22 home runs, 12 stolen bases, underpriced on FanDuel. DraftKings got him right. Solid barrels and hard hits all year long. 127 WRC plus, a 372 xWOBA lurking under the surface. Ramon Laureano's had a tremendous year. 22 home runs, 299, 361, 543, a 243 ISO. Major upside for him, continuing his premium contact, his power output, his excellent season, his 150 WRC plus year while in Coors Field. Jackson Merrill back in the projected lineup, 11.2% barrel out of him. Over 394 plate appearances, not matching the output that we saw from him last year, but still a positive contributor with a 102 WRC plus and a 355 xWOB under the surface. That is a very good ball player. Jake Cronenworth, at worst a mix and match guy who gains ground from Coors Field, 4,400 at second base, works on DraftKings, 32 generous on FanDuel. Him and Luis Larraíz being so low priced is a favor to us on the FanDuel slate. And then you hit Jose Iglesias, Mason McCoy, Freddie Furman. Furman is kind of interesting down there. 256, 305, 346 this year, just 4 home runs, just a .090 ISO. Nothing really special to talk about, except for the fact that he is a low strikeout, low walk, and high contact, adequate or reasonably average what am I trying to say? Hit tool focused player, reasonably average batting average type player was the word I was trying to find. Last season, 271 over 368 plate appearances, 281 over 235 the year before. So can hit for average, can put the ball in play and find a little success. Again, that will work in this ballpark. 3,500 is very cheap to just draw the catcher out of this lineup on your DraftKings slate. In play on FanDuel, it's just 29. Rocky's a little bit more of a challenge against Pivetta, but again, if we can take advantage of any of that premium contact with some of these bats that can go find it, you got 3 guys in the double digits for barrels, another 2 in the mid 9s, a lot of hard hit rate in this lineup. There's just a lot of strikeout, a lot of swing and miss, and a lot of low end overall play. But there are capable enough bats. The Rockies may be more in play than that 4.37 implied total suggests. Odds are Pivetta beats him handily, but they're on the board. Tyler Freeman, 47-33, having a good year. 101 WRC plus, solid slash line, 372 on base. Most importantly, very low strikeout and high walk. Mickey Moniak, gotten cheap again, 3,600. That comes with a 12.7% barrel, 46% hard hits. On FanDuel, he's still 33. 18 home runs, a solid slash line, a 102 WRC plus. It's an excellent option if you're going Rockies. Hunter Goodman at 52-37 has 27 home runs, a 246 ISO, their best overall power batter, at least their most consistent one. Jordan Beck at 42-31 has 14 homers and 15 steals, and so does Brenton Doyle. They've been interesting. 100 WRC plus, over 505 chances for Beck makes him the more consistent. But the higher upside, the higher ceiling, I continue to believe, is Brenton Doyle. He's also been the lower strikeout of lower strikeout of the two, 29-1 versus 24-8. Doyle just hits the ball harder. That is solid. Ezequiel Tovar also hits the ball very, very hard. Again, if we're looking to exploit this, we want to take advantage of some of those. Tovar's got eight home runs and a 166 ISO this year, but he hit 26 last year. Kyle Karros is off to a okay start. He's gotten on base at a 319 clip. Just a 280 xWOBA is the concern over 91 plate appearances, but we'll see where that goes. Limited in terms of the premium contact, but he's drawn some walks. He's not been embarrassing himself in terms of the strikeouts. Junquil Fernandez striking out a little bit too much, not finding any kind of walks. 3 home runs in 102 plate appearances. Okay in terms of success via batting average on balls in play, but just a 227 xWOBA betraying any kind of quality that you might see over here. And then Orlando Arcia has been lost for the better part of like 3 seasons now. Padres bats, Nick Pivetta, Rockies bats. Mason Barnett looking like a target for Angels bats. 3 guys in the heart of the lineup are the guys that I really want to grab here. They're all in the outfield. Makes it an easy stack to build with. If you get another team that's super focused on the infield, like say the Royals or who the hell did I put them together with? The Cardinals were along those lines because we wanted Gorman. Mason Wynn was on the board. Although you've got a tremendous shortstop option, you've also got a solid third baseman in this lineup. Really like to look at the Angels at a 5.25, but they're not going to be a secret from anybody. Tons of home run upside in this lineup. 25 on the board for Neto, 24 stolen bases. They're going up against Mason Barnett. Just 4 innings in the show this year, 1 start. Allowed a 10.5% barrel in that start. Gave up a couple homers. Monster ERA, but let's pull up some fair numbers to him. Where are you, Mace? In 23 starts in AAA this year, he had a 6.13 ERA and a 5.37 xFIP. Was giving up a 1.29 home run per 9, striking out just 22.8 and walking 11.9. He's only 24. Maybe he pulls it all together, but doesn't look like he's fully cooked to me. I think the Angels will do their thing here. On the other side, Jose Soriano, Excellent at keeping the ball in the yard. 1.62% home runs, comes on a negative 3.2 average launch. Look at the devastating impact that he's having on these ridiculous home run hitters that the A's have. That's Jose Soriano's game. He's also up to a 21.2% strikeout rate now. 3.68 ERA with a spectacular 3.39 xFIP. I know he walks too many, but guys, this is a good pitcher. People sleep on him. 7,100 on DraftKings, 82 on FanDuel. Doesn't always go out and spike the big strikeout days, but can, and especially against a team that is a little bit free swinging by nature at a 24.1% strikeout rate. Last time out, 8 strikeouts against the Astros, who are a lower strikeout team. We had him that day. 7 innings of one hit ball, kept him off the board, struck out 8, walked 3. The walks are where he gets in trouble. Outside of that, if he wasn't walking 10%, we'd be talking about a terrific pitcher, and he'd probably be a Mariner. 11.5% swinging strike rate is tremendous. That is a demonstrable ability to miss bats. 2 years ago in relief, he struck out 30.3%, had a 14.8% swinging strike rate. Gave up a little bit more launch that year, was a little bit more gettable for premium contact and power, but was excellent in that relief work, was outstanding. 3.42 ERA, 3.82 xFIP last year with a 20.7% strikeout. Excellent at limiting home runs. This is a good pitcher. He just is. Love the price. 4.36 implied total because the A's still do have the ability to put the ball in play, hit it with authority, but still in the ballpark. They have all that barrel rate. They have all those hard hits. So we're not fooling ourselves into thinking that Soriano's entirely safe here. But if we're taking away or taking down several pegs, their primary weapon, then yeah, I think he's interesting. Kurtz at the top, though, 5,800, 3,900 might have something to say about that. He's hit 28 home runs and 400 plate appearances in his rookie season, with 328 ISO. Absolutely spectacular. 6.40 in the home run model to lead the team today. Brent Rooker, a couple spots later, tremendous power, 5.48 in the home run model. He's hit 27 with a 226 ISO on major premium contact. Soderstrom, Langoliers, both those guys have ridiculous contact numbers as well. 23 home runs and 29 home runs, 196 and 273 ISOs. Major sources of power. Most of those guys also are generally high strikeout. This year, Langoliers has cut strikeout down to 19.6%. I hope he keeps it below 20. That would be tremendous improvement for him. Last 2 years, 29.2 2 years ago, 27.2 last year. So from time to time, will still be gettable for strikeout. The other 3 guys up top, definitely gettable for Ks, although Rooker has greatly improved his number as well year over year for the second year in a row or third year in a row. Jacob Wilson, low strikeout, low walk, a lot of balls in play, light hitter, but 315, 356, 450, dynamite table setter. They should have him leading off ahead of Kurtz, in my opinion. Lawrence Butler, bad season for him, but a quality counting stats across all 4 major categories. Those are appealing numbers. Just a 94 WRC plus, but we know he's quite a bit better than this. Zach Geloff at 32.25 has hit the ball very hard in his limited opportunities. It's resulted in just 2 home runs at 31 WRC plus, but that's a very cheap second baseman to throw into the mix if you're going to this team. JJ Bleday, down season overall, 12 home runs and 90 WRC plus, and Ernai's mix and match quality at the bottom. But I really think it is about how this Angels team aligns against this guy. Again, all 3 of the outfielders here above the magic number for home run quality and very affordable. 4,000 for Mike Trout, 42 for Taylor Ward, 41 for Joe Adell, 332 and 29 on FanDuel. Monster home run upside. 116, and 118 WRC plus. It's not like they're bad outside of the power. Yeah, they don't hit too consistently for average, but they crush pitches. They create runs. They draw walks pretty much up and down. Only Adele out of that group doesn't really draw walks. It's just a really interesting group of hitters. Joel Moncada's drawing a 10.9% walk. He's got a 13.6% barrel and 44.2% hard hits. 11 home runs in just 238 plate appearances with a 222 ISO. Neto with 25 homers and 24 steals of 118 WRC plus. Again, as I was saying before, a tremendous option to fill shortstop from this team. The bottom end trails off a little bit with this Renifo, Peraza, and Terocio combination. But Ohapi remains interesting as a spot filler for catcher. Major barrel and premium contact upside, 19 home runs, down to a 171 ISO. Doesn't find a ton of consistency outside of the occasional long ball, but a 9.35 in the home run model is difficult to ignore from such a cheap catcher. So it's easy to extend to 5. on DraftKings. You go those 4, and then whichever 2 of those guys fits best. I think that's a very straightforward approach. You fill your outfield, grab catcher, and then either shortstop or third. Love the upside for the Angels today. A lot of power showing. And then we finally hit the end of this one. Red Sox with Peyton Toley making his second start was tremendous in the first one. We'll see how it holds up. That first one, it's important to keep in mind. That was against the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are not the Arizona Diamondbacks. Tiz, not sure what they're going to do there today. Assuming Ohtani gets 5, I think we just get regular bullpen setup and not a scheduled bulk reliever. And he went 5 in the last one finally. I think that's going to be the pace they expect. So probably just regular bullpen action. I wouldn't be, let's put it this way, for DFS, I would not be looking to grab somebody in that role today. 479 implied total for the Red Sox to back up Peyton Toley's potential to maybe grab a win if he can get through 5 or more. Last time out in his debut, 5 1/3, faced 21 Pirates, gave up 2 runs. It's important to remember. 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, only allowed 3 hits, did not allow a home run, but the walks burnt him a little bit. Kid's tremendous, rocketed through the system. All of his professional baseball action was this year. He debuted in high A this year and made it to the show. He was pitching in college last year. Tremendous, tremendous upside, but this is a good Diamondbacks team. They have some interesting right-handed bats. Yeah, they've been diminished by, after the trades and everything and just what this version of the lineup looks like. But the top 3 are still fantastic. Gabriel Moreno is a more than capable hitter. Blaze Alexander's been interesting from the right side. I still believe in Tyler Locklear, who's another right-handed hitter a couple spots further down. Jordan Lawler is a top-end prospect who hits from the right side a couple spots further after that. This is not a safe spot for Toley. He's priced up at 93 on FanDuel. I'm not really thinking that's all that playable against this board. 83 on DraftKings works a little bit better. He does come with definite upside. But I think you're bought and paid for at that 93. At 8,300 on DraftKings, you can squeeze some upside out of it. Erod is a wild card, 63.78. We know the Red Sox hit lefties pretty well. So I don't love the idea of going to Erod here, but we can always find success with them as well. From time to time, those roller coasters do hit the good. 6,300 is really cheap to throw the dart. 7,800 on FanDuel. I don't love it. I probably wouldn't do it all that often. Across 150, maybe you have a couple few. It's not like he's going to be popular. Red Sox bats definitely more interesting depending on the configuration of the lineup with their tendency to deploy some platoon action here. Nate Eaton up top, 24-22. Just a average, contact-oriented hitter, can steal a base, correlated scoring option from the top if he's up there. Really starts off with Bregman at 52-35, 16 home runs, a tremendous slash line, a 131 WRC+. Trevor Story is really, really interesting against this lefty. 4,900, 3,400. They're kind of caught up as far as those prices against his production. Just fantastic across the board for counting stats this year. 23 homers, 25 steals, scored 78 runs, drove in 88. I don't care about the lack of consistency. He is up to a 99 WRC+, though. We'll probably crest 100 over the course of the last few weeks. 9.4% barrel, 47% hard hit. Most interestingly for Story, 566 plate appearances this year. You'll love to see it. Romy Gonzalez crushes lefties and hits everybody pretty hard. 13.2% barrel, 57% hard hit, 302, 339, 494 year. 8 home runs, a 192 ISO, 123 WRC+. Rob Refsnyder, we know what his success looks like against lefties. Most of his opportunity this year has come in the platoon role. 7 home runs, 283, 64, 87 overall, 12.1% barrel, 51.4% hard hit, 3,900, 2,800, kind of works price-wise. Jaron Duran scuffles lefty-lefty, but 5,000, 3,500. If we chase Erod, we definitely get opportunity there, and it'll be lower owned for it. 14 home runs, 22 stolen bases on the season. Tremendous source of extra base hits and point scoring. Ceddanne Rafael has continued to hit the ball hard all year, but he has dipped down to a 91 WRC+. So we're back to his form where he's interesting for counting stats. He's bad for reliability, sub 300 on base, but can provide numbers here and is always cheap across multiple positions. Nick Sogard just in there for the lefty, 242, 315, 318, 76 WRC plus. And then Carlos Narvaez from the right side has hit the ball squarely all season long and is kind of interesting with 12 home runs and 384 chances as a cheap catcher to round things out. On the Diamondback side, I think you can use them probably at lower ownership than they ought to be against a rookie starter making his second major league start. Ketel Marte is tremendous at 56, 39, 25 home runs at 243 ISO. Geraldo Perdomo gets on base like crazy, 381 on base. I continue to think he ought to be leading off ahead of those two. They had done that for a little while. We'll see what they roll out today, but in any order, this top three is fantastic. 48, 38 for the 381 on base, the 130 WRC plus, and Perdomo can contribute individually as well. 16 homers, 24 steals. Corbin Carroll's hit 29 long balls, 23 stolen bases. We're going 30-25 plus, 298 ISO, 140 WRC plus, just a superstar. Gabriel Moreno got real cheap at 35-28. He's got 7 home runs, a solid slash line, a 109 WRC plus over a quarter of a season. Low strikeout, low walk rate, a lot of well-struck balls in play from a cheap catcher, especially if he's hitting like here behind these guys. That's a fantastic option. Blaze Alexander hitting the ball very hard, 13.5% barrels, 45.2% hard hits. It's resulted in 7 home runs and a 202 ISO. That's all I'm really looking for here. Just a little bit of cheap power upside. A lot of strikeout there, though. Ildemaro Vargas hits lefties pretty well, if memory serves. Overall this season, just a mix and match quality guy, over 61 plate appearances. Wouldn't consider him all that much more than that, but he's very cheap. Tyler Locklear is the interesting guy, though. 7.3% barrels and 40% hard hits. Way too many strikeouts and not enough walks so far in the show this year. 3 home runs on 104 plate appearances, just a .097 ISO, 172, 260, 269. Nothing at all appealing about those numbers in the show, but the kid is good. He's got talent. He's 24 and change. He's, needs to start showing it. But this year in AAA, over 434 plate appearances, 19 home runs, 18 stolen bases. 316, 401, 542, 225 ISO. I continue to believe that we will eventually see that at the major league level. Didn't stop me from trading him to EMAC, but I continue to believe. And then Jorge Barosa and Jordan Lawler down lineup. So Lawler's interesting at the dead min and 2,200 on FanDuel. In 300 plate appearances in AAA this season, Jordan Lawler has 11 home runs and 20 stolen bases, a 251 ISO, 313, 403, 564 slash line. He's only 23 and just turned 23. So he's a little ahead of schedule to be putting up those numbers at the AAA level. Very, very cheap against a guy who is also young for being here. I know Peyton Tolley looks like a 35-year-old chain smoker from the 70s, but he is rocketed to the show. So taking a young hitter against, no problem with it. Jordan Lawler's very, very real. I don't care about these 36 plate appearances in the show at all so far. Red Sox bats, Diamondbacks bats, Peyton Tolley on DraftKings, Peyton Tolley on FanDuel, Erod. And Erod might actually outpace on both sites the Tolley on FanDuel number. I just don't like that price. And that's it. We're done. That was the slate. 441. Got to punch out of here. Look at that. We did do it in under 2 hours, though. Might be the shortest 10-plus game slate we've ever done. Trav, I would expect that the Padres stack is going to be very popular and going to be the top of the board chalk of the day as far as ownership goes, but that does not make them unappealing. That's a monster option. Just put them together with something a little bit offbeat at the pitcher spot, a little bit offbeat in your 3-man that goes with that on DK as or a 2-man and a 1-off. Whatever you do there, a team like the Cardinals, I don't know how popular they are at that mid-4s total with all that power showing. Team like the Angels, some of the power bats out of that stacks up pretty well. So just put something unique together with it. You're totally fine to go Padres. Ownership is more guideline than anything else. You want to be different. You want to get leverage against the field and consider the whole. But any given stack, any given individual gets a little bit overrated. Anyway, let me pull up the pitching board one last time. Again, the home run pick of the day was Nolan Gorman from the Cardinals. Hopefully he's in the lineup. Chris Sale, Tyler Glasnow, Logan Gilbert, Chrissy Sanchez. Love all 4 of those options. Quad aces today with some backup. in the flop. I don't know what you would need to flop to win with quad aces, I would assume. I mean, you've already flopped too. But continuing out through the river, to extend a clunky analogy, Pivetta, Kelly, Lopez, not bad options going down the board. I do have a bit of a disagreement with Lopez at those prices against the low strikeout KC team. Kevin Gausman entirely playable against my Yankees, but they're showing a lot of power against and a lot of upside against. Well, their power's checked down somewhat while still being high end. Ballpark obviously helps, and Aaron Judge and just the ridiculous power they have. But Gausman good enough and misses enough bats to give them problems. Schlittler, overpriced on FanDuel, appropriately priced on DraftKings, but a very low strikeout Blue Jays opponent. Love the look of Gav Williams, especially at 76 on DK, but probably going to get popular there. I think as a sneaky pivot, if he's sneaky, Jose Soriano for 500 less on DraftKings is equally interesting to Gav against that Athletics team. Erod is very shaky. I think these are, reasonable numbers for Erod, but there's a lot of downside. Seymour, just the idea that it's going to be in bulk relief doesn't really help with any kind of reaching bonuses. Totally, as we just discussed, overpriced on FanDuel, more playable on DraftKings. Waka is very interesting as an SP2 dart at 69 on DK. There's no reason to believe he can't continue a fairly successful season just in terms of limiting runs, eating 6 innings against those Twins. Colton Gordon, I question what we're really going to see here in the return from the minors. And then McGreevy, Kramer, Mason Barnett, we're really playing with some fire down here. By the way, just remembered Glass now off the slate. It's now Shohei Ohtani, who is probably not going to score as a pitcher going here. So it's trip aces. So we can get to the full house. We got a full house, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your full house. And if Ohtani happens to score a pitcher, you can throw him into that mix as well. 5 innings of Ohtani against the Orioles. If it scores as a pitcher on your site, take it. That's a reasonably good option. All right, let me punch out of here so I can get football taken. Max Video calling the Jimmy Crooks home run. Woo! Throwing it on the table at the end of the show. I love it. Go get it. 4:45. I am going to try and get back by 5:30 and do a rundown on that single game football slate for tonight. I got to make sure we're in the right spot for the projections that are up on the site, most importantly first, though. So keep an eye on Discord. Keep an eye on the Twitter handle. Good luck out there tonight. Somebody go win something in baseball and in football. Share those results when you do at rotoscouts on Twitter or in the free Discord, which is linked at the bottom of the screen. The website is rotoscouts.com. Promo code kickoff gets you 33% off of your first month of a subscription. Doesn't have to be your first time subscribing, just has to be a new pickup. $15 first month. That gives you baseball and football, 50 cents a day for your first month. When it renews and we hit October, November, you're getting hockey, you're getting basketball, all rolled into under $1 a day, only at RotoScouts. So check it out, guys. Give us some love. Appreciate all you guys. If I don't see you for football, have fantastic weekends. Enjoy the football slate. That said, we're doing football for the one gamer in just a little bit tonight. And tomorrow, at some point, there will be a main slate show in some form or other. So keep your eye on the notifications and whatnot. We'll get all that on the schedule in the next little bit. Later, gang.